Hey, this is Noogie from GardenTalesGuides.com, and I was actually going to go over tips and tricks. Things that I do that I've just assumed other people do, but I've come to find out they don't. Alright, so first off, green hammers. So I'm at a point of the game where I want green hammers. It's the most important resource for me. So therefore, coffee, if I'm not evolving somebody, coffee before relics anyway. Coffee basically needs to help obtain green hammers over time, right? So people do mystery evolution all the time. I just saw somebody evolving a 4-star into a 5-star. Um, so here's the deal, right? This is how it's done. I don't have that many, but I have some. So mystery evolution, right? Auto mystery. You go to the 1st star, and I do that particularly, but you don't have to. I would suggest it though. And you just do that. Cool. Mystery Evolution. Go to 2 stars. That. I'm looking for a sharpshooter in here, but no. And Mystery Evolution. Go to 3 stars. To 4 stars. You're only going to get one. Alright, cool. I never do 4 stars to 5 stars. It's a waste of resources. I don't care what screenshots you've seen about somebody getting something really good. You're basically taking 8 items that just need to put some money into it, and you're getting 240 magic metal instead of just 30. And it's not easy to get 4-star items. It's kind of a costly endeavor. It takes a lot of coffee, so that's just a waste. And what you're going to get eventually, and I've been doing this for a little while without cashing in, you're going to get 4-star items. Look at all these. So what you do with 4-star items, just simply you take it, evolve it, 230, and then when you accrue enough, you just extract it like that, and then you get 30, right? So basically what it comes down to, it's something like 9 million gold will get you a green hammer if you evolve only from 4 to 5 stars, which is what I'm working on right now. If you evolve 3 to 5 stars, just like you spend like 110,000 to get that 3, like right here, 110,000 to get that 3 to 4, and then another 230 to get the 4 to a 5, and you do that for every item that you have, you're going to basically be spending 14 million per green hammer. 14 million gold. And honestly, that's totally fine with me. I just do the 4 to 5 stars right now, or I'm sorry, 3 to 4 stars, and then spend the cash up. But that's what it's like, right? And and then you take those 1,500 or 1,500, cash them in at the store, and then you get green hammers, right? So it does work. And I just save them up for whenever a hero comes out. So Agwa's about to drop a rifle, and I'm going to use them for raiding. I'll just spend 5 hammers immediately and max out the weapon. Or maybe 4 stars, usually, and then I'll try to get the other off a summon. So, MLBs, going back into the inventory, right? So, one-handed sword's a good example of this, right? I MLB everything, because why not, right? So that's an 86. So anything I've locked is an 86. And the reason why is in raiding we get off-element weapons that come up a lot, and we need to actually satisfy those off-element weapons, right? We want to put the highest potential damage weapon in that person's hand for that particular boss fight. So I MLB everything to 86, and honestly, it's something that's cheap to do, and it happens over time as you do the item dungeons, and eventually it caps, you don't need to do that anymore. You'll probably need to do some of the yellows, but the unique should be fairly quick, right? So here's the other deal, right? I have 4 of these, and actually 5 of those. But they actually, when you do the book value on that, actually they are the highest earth attack one-handed weapon. So I don't want to get rid of those. I'm just going to keep them, right? I'll keep them until I don't need them anymore. And when I don't need them, you know, like that means a better Earth hero comes out with a one-handed weapon, and when they do, when I don't, then I'm just gonna extract them. But until then, it's the same thing, and the same thing for this basic one. I want to have the highest damage weapon of every type for every element, and that's what I'm working on, right? So those two, I even have things in here like Sohi's. I don't really ever use that character. And if I'm not using her, I'm not MLBing the weapon because it makes no sense. I could eventually get 300 magic metal for that. And I probably eventually will. But right now, I don't necessarily need it because you saw the hammers, right? Same thing with a lot of these. But I only use it when I really need it. And I haven't really needed anything. So I always have a lot of resources because I do things like the way I do it, right? So that way. Moving on a little bit more. But yeah, anyway, you'll notice every yellow is pretty much MLB too. So, okay, co-op defense setup. This is one of the funnest things in the game for me. Co-op defensive setup. This ring, these two cards. These two cards are, every time you kill a monster, you get 0.2 seconds off a weapon skill regen on every kill. And this gives you 3 seconds off weapons. You can actually take this and use that, which gives you 0.4 seconds, which means you get automatic, like constant skill damage, which is great if you have people that are competent enough to kill monsters. I usually go with this because it's just heavy, and I can kill monsters in one shot with those. So that being said, this will, like, all you're doing is special, and I'll put, every time I go in to co-op defense, I always, let's say Claude, I'd immediately start equipping him with those items, right? I'd be like, all right, here's this. I would go into that, and this is all on kill, by the way. That's where you're gonna find those items. I do that, and then I go up and I throw this on. I'd be like, all right, ready for co-op, but I don't do co-op defense unless I've got those 3 things equipped. And if you don't have one of these, then just do the Teton merch, and it's so fun. It makes it so much better. It's crazy if you're not the highest damage dealer, because those are such a huge benefit. All right, stam stacking, right? So every patch that's going to hit, right? So we have a patch coming up on Tuesday. On Tuesday of the previous week, I will stop collecting mail. I will have all my mail just like this. And then on the morning of the patch, I will get all of that mail and put it in my inbox. Usually what that means is I get an extra 700 SAM and 750 coffee to work with the morning of the patch, which is great because it's all content that you want to do or you want to play with immediately. You want to spend some resources to get the good stuff, and it's just a smart move. And then usually the second half of the patch is all the stuff that you don't need to spend SAM on. You're just going to get it. So yeah, that's what I do every single patch. I've been doing that for probably 2 years now. Okay, the only thing I actually purchase in the game anymore, really, is this thing. Because it's like $4, whatever. And it gives you 30 extra chances, not to mention 1,500 gems, on summons. Every single morning I will summon, like if it's on a hero like this, it's not somebody I really need, not super psyched about her, it's just a kind of a sideways replacement for another character. So I do the daily discount to summon her. I do the daily discount to summon her weapon. If I get either of those, I stop doing the daily discounts. And that's all it is. That's pretty much what I do every day. And honestly, I get a little excited about it because it's kind of that chance gambling mechanic that we all kind of dig. But if it's a character I really want, let's say, or like a weapon, let's say Ogma's weapons next patch, so I would summon every single day to try to MLB that weapon. You know, like I could buy the hammers for it, and like I said, what I'm probably going to do is buy 4 hammers, or upgrade with 4 hammers, and then what I'll have is 14 days to maybe get the 5th one. And on the 14th day, if I haven't got it, I'll just use another hammer. Presets. Okay, so presets. My presets are pretty organized, right? So I always set up presets about the raid. So Goblin, that's a statue. That's a mothership. Statue, So I kind of set up all my presets, right? I do it like this. Those are my rating presets. Sometimes there's an alternative because maybe, you don't really know what's going to happen in the raid until like the third or fourth day when things chill out and people are attacking normally. But until then, it's kind of the Wild West, right? So you set up your presets in a way that'll kind of hit multiple bosses. But right now, towards the end of the raid or the second half, I know what I'm doing. I also just have presets for just the basics of each element. Just because what I use this for is, let's say I'm doing Kamazan. Well, I have a Kamazan, but let's say I'm gonna have to fight some basic PvE thing, or whether rather than having to set up the team, which I hate doing, I'll just say light preset, and I'm good. I also have defense, which I don't really need, I suppose, with Coliseum. I have verse Aura in the Coliseum, which is a pretty good tip that a guildie gave me. This is all +8 attack on enemy kills. And an Aura usually fights with Noxia, so you get just a massive boost in damage when you're doing that team. Kamazan, I just set it up like that. But either way, that's kind of how I do my presets. And you'll notice, let's say on Duncan here, Duncan has Ray, which is using Ogma's weapon. That is an off-element weapon hit. Yay! You need to do that for raids. It's big. And also just the basic setup for a raid. And this is, I don't understand how people don't know this at this point. I guess because I'm way too geeky and I abstain from fun things. But here we go. All right, look. Let's actually use somebody else, a better team, for example. Okay, cool. So the leader is going to get skill damage cards almost exclusively. You'll not see skill damage cards. The second highest damage dealer is usually going to get crit cards. The third highest damage dealer is going to get crit and attack. And usually there's one person that's from a different element swapping over weapons. It just gets attack cards. These should be fairly obvious. And then, these are their weapons if they're element, right? So if we go to Duncan, Ray is a fire hero using a dark weapon. Great. Yuze is the massive exception to this rule because no matter what she fights, if she's leading, she's using her weapon because her weapon keeps uptime on a debuff. Fairy, it's all basic. Goblin. Okay, Goblin has Lucy, which is a fire hero. Once again, attack cards. She's using an off-element weapon. So it's really, you see the skill damage cards, second highest damage dealer. Could be her. But I want Orca with crit because with this build, the crit is everything on her one attack. So that's kind of presets or whatever. That's the basic preset stuff. Now raid attacks. Okay, here's where we are in raid right now. We have Fairy. I could hit the Fairy, but I don't like to hit the Fairy. Like, I could move things along, but I like to do everything when I can do it at the same time. The reason why I like to have all 4 bosses up is if I go ahead and I hit Fairy and I mess up, right? Fairy's the lowest damage boss there is in this tier. So when I hit Fairy, if I mess up, let's say I do 12 million damage when I should do 15 or something like that, I will go ahead and reset it, right? Or maybe it's like 14 million where I could get 15. I'll reset the boss, use my reset, hit it again, maybe get my 15. But any of these other bosses do more damage than Fairy. So let's say I accidentally mess up on Duncan. I'd love that retry there, but I've already used it on Fairy. That sucks. So what you should do is use your priority on killing bosses should be the highest damage boss, the second highest damage boss, and the third. And use your retry when it comes up, right? Don't go lowest to highest, go highest to lowest. Because if you mess up on Duncan, and you're using a good team, it could be a 2-3 million damage difference on a mess up than a not mess up. If you do it on Fairy and you mess up, it could be a 1 million damage difference. So you go for the higher one first. If you don't use retry there, you don't use retry there, and you need to use retry there, that's great. But you've done your run and it's optimal attacking. Other little things. So Kamazan, Kamazan's not necessarily the hardest thing in the world, but one thing people don't realize is they can kind of like the part where you get stuck in Kamazan often is at the very end, right when you're on the boss, and then you're like, shit, I can't really change my spec or itemization up that much, but you kind of can. So if you're not able to get that WSR off, and you're actually killing monsters, but the WSR is so huge, you can actually do the WSR and regen on kill for the leader. You can put plus attack on kill for your characters, and that's actually a pretty good rule of thumb in general on Kamazan, because you're killing a lot of monsters and you're going to get attack on kill for every one of them. That's always pretty great. And then the next patch, when we add relics, you're going to be able to go ahead and say, when you get to the last boss, if it's a boss monster, if you really need to, you can go ahead and do +7 damage on boss. And then if it's normal characters, you can just do anything else. So you want to fine tune at the end of Kamazan, and those other cards like plus attack on kill, and then WSR regen, or like weapon regen on skill, on kill, can be really useful to kind of fine tune that last fight when you really need just a smidge of performance there, and that's it. And then I mean, those are, I don't know, the high level tips and tricks that I use. You can also do things like let's say the next patch is going to have those little coins, right? So you destroy a bush and you get a coin. Check the guardian points, you get a point. 3 Coliseum things, you get a point, and then they go and you put them into that gotcha machine, right? So on that, if you're logging in a little early before reset hits, just don't collect your princess. Don't like the night before. If you see a bush, don't delete it, or I'm sorry, don't I don't know what the hell, dig it up, whatever, tree. And then if you see the princess gift, don't get it. Just wait for just wait for the reset. Get your coins, so on and so forth. A lot of this game is just about being patient. So, but that's about it. Hopefully that stuff helps. Talk to you later.